Hey, yes, I am in my bathroom. Okay, hello, I'm T Coates, and this is my channel. Now, this is more, I'm trying to try something new, so I wanted to lay it out for people who don't watch the news and actually, like, really, because I used to not watch it. Every time I watch it, it's so sad, or something's happening, or somebody's bombing somebody, or something's going on. So I initially just kind of like stopped. And my mother always say, like, that's you need to know what's going on in the world. And I know a lot of people have literally, like, I don't watch the news, like I just read some parts of the paper. And I have to start saying to myself, don't be afraid of watching it. Don't be afraid of knowing what's going on, because if we don't know what's going on, it's easier for people of power to slide things under the radar, and we never know about it until we look at our paycheck, or until we look at the TV, just happen to glance at the TV and be like, oh my God, what's happening out there? So this channel is just for me to provide a little bit of information as to what's going on out there, and just comment on and see if you like it. Hopefully you agree with some of the things I say. Some of you might not agree with some or all of the things I say, but this is just from me researching and what I found. Okay. So for all those of you who don't know what's going on out there, the USMCA deal. Now, in layman's terms, it's basically the NAFTA deal. Now, what the NAFTA deal is just tariffs, and tariffs are just taxes on, like, he put the taxes on for the steel and aluminum. Now, it sounds funny, but you ask the question, why do you think, okay, let me start over. This is all just going to be unedited. Like, I'm just literally just going to keep going. The new USMCA deal, United States, Mexico, Canada agreement, is to replace the NAFTA deal. That's all it is. Now, Trump and Justin Trudeau, if I'm saying his name right, which I'm probably not, what didn't he call him, like some kind of weasel or something at the G20 summit, which is just kind of, like he's got him kind of by the balls right now. And in turn, Trump put the tariffs on them as far as steel and aluminum for importing, and he turned around and did basically the same thing. But it's not about the tariffs, it's about the amount of tariffs. He put 25% on the steel and aluminum tariffs. I mean, that's just, like, I was literally like watching it like, okay, how much was it before? I'm like, how much was the tariffs before on there? And, he kept saying, like, the USMCA deal, just think of it as the YMCA. Nobody's thinking of it as the YMCA, because, Trump, he really has them by the balls with his tariffs. He imposed it on them, and that's why you're still, when I think about it in terms of this. Now, they're close to us as far as, like, borderline, like, because he did it for Mexico, and he also did it for Canada. The reasons why he did it for Canada, because he wanted to make the manufacturing jobs come back to America, because the steel and cars and automotives. Now, in order for them to not get taxed at all, they have to, 75% of all cars made in either Mexico or Canada. Hold on, let's just so I make sure I'm getting this right. 70% of all Canadian steel has to be made in, 75% has to be made in either Mexico or Canada, so they don't get Mexico, US, or Canada, so they don't get tariffs. But he's still going to tax the hell out of them. They have this kind of shielding in place just in case, probably. And it just, he's not a person of his word, so it's like, why would you take all that? Now, when did he impose it? The tariffs are June 1st, 2018. 6 months later, while the tariffs were hurting Canada, now he signs this, he imposed it on the European Union too, July 6th. And it wasn't making any sense. Like, I'm like, okay, let's start over. You came up with the idea in March he announced, I'm going to put a tariff on Canada and Mexico. And everybody's like, okay, why? Don't they pay a certain amount? And he's basically saying they make too much money off their steel and aluminum stuff, and this is so they can't charge this, or they can't do this, or so they can't. And then you start reading it, and Justin was literally like, well, no, I don't agree with what he's doing. He's messing with our harmony and what we do, and y'all do what y'all do, and we do what we do. And he literally said, well, if you're going to basically do business with America, this is what we want. So you're initially fucking over, because they have things they have to build. They're all the steel that they use to go into our airplanes, all the steel that they use to go into cars and all kind of stuff. He's charging taxes on the steel itself. So it's like 25%. Let's say it was 10% before. Now it's 25%. Now, if we're talking about us, if we hear something like 2%, we think, okay, maybe like an extra $10, an extra 8 cents, or 0.9% or 9% or 10%. We're thinking of it in terms of, like maybe a few bucks. But in the larger scale of that, that's millions and potentially billions of dollars that he's literally taking out of Canada and everything like that. And he's like, well, it's to give jobs back to America. And I have to say, like he was, Trudeau was literally saying, well, all the things that we've done together and all the working hand in hand for years and going into war with you and everything like that, and you're just gonna slap us with something that's like astronomical and really unheard of. And people are just like, well, a lot of people don't understand what that means. I mean, yeah, it means manufacturing jobs, because he's saying it's going to bring manufacturing jobs and everything like that. But he's also saying the deal also includes stuff like, Mexico has to have the people who do the working there, as far as the manufacturing there, will be making has to be making $16 an hour by 2023. And I just don't think that's a realistic goal. That's like saying, China workers have to go from making, let's say, I'm not going to even insult them by saying like 8 cents or something, but let's just say $10 an hour. Now all of a sudden you have to start making $25 an hour in order to keep this agreement. Like, that seems a little far-fetched and unrealistic to me as far as that. But he got them to sign. Everybody saw the signing. Like, he's shaking hands. They did the USCMA deal, and the president of Mexico and Justin Trudeau, like they're shaking his hands, but he's basically got them by the balls. And he's like, he really does. He basically has them by the balls. But not only that, it's like it still has to pass through Congress. So they can sign the agreement and everything like that. But if you really think that Congress, at this point, with the government shut down and all this other stuff going on, that they're really even thinking about that his version of the NAFTA deal, they're not. I mean, I'm sorry. I just don't see that actually happening anytime soon. Now, oh God. I mean, as I'm looking at it, I'm like 25% on 818 categories of imported from China worth $50 billion. What does that mean? They're basically saying you're making too much off of us. And so we're going to charge you. So basically it hurts the consumer, because when we buy stuff now, it's just going to be more expensive. That's all it basically is. It might put money in our pockets as far as like the manufacturing jobs, or whoever's lucky enough to get those jobs. It might do that. And then all of a sudden, if we're buying stuff, because we get a lot of stuff from China, if we're going that route, it's gonna be more expensive for us to pay for this or pay for that, clothes and everything else that, like, it's gonna, like, you want to do this, they're gonna, they have the the option to pretty much, they have money now. So they have the option to pretty much say, you know what, we're not even going to deal with you guys. You guys can get your, but they make so much money, it's hard to make that decision. But if they wanted to, they could get stuff from other places. I mean, it's the big world. And we, you know, he kind of thinks like they can't survive without us. And that's not necessarily true. Yeah, more expensive for us as the consumers. On a larger scale, there's not much to worry about in terms, like I said, in terms of dollar amount. Yeah, 85 cents more, 75 cents more, but that's still taking out of our pockets. Think about how much we buy as Americans, how much we consume. You know, that could be an extra $250 a year, you know what I mean? Versus what we know, okay, I got $3,000 for the kids' school stuff and school clothes and everything like that. And in the long term, it might be, you know, you might need $3,600 or something like that. Like it's gonna hit us in certain ways, but he always acts like it's not. Then he wants to give little, I call them like little perks for saying, I'm gonna fuck us in this aspect. I'm going to turn around and do something nice. So what he did was he opened up the dairy farmer market. So he's letting the farmers be able to trade with Canada, opening up more, he calls it more jobs, more Canadian jobs, so they can literally trade with Canada. Okay, that's fine. Why weren't they able to do that before, after all this time? I don't know. But, you know, going back to just as I'm looking at, I'm just really like, I'm just kind of taken back, you know, like he raised the tariffs on the aluminum by like 20%, and everybody kind of like, well, you know, we don't really use it. Like, you'd be surprised what that stuff is in and how much that we use it and how much they use it and stuff like that. I mean, they're building homes and businesses and stuff like that, and we do the same thing. And as the world grows and how we build things, that cost of steel is, you know, I mean, I'm from Buffalo. I mean, we know all about the steel plants and everything like that shut down, that are still there after, you know, my father used to work there, and he's 70 something, and he stopped working when he was like 35. So I mean, like, that, all of that added together, it says revenue in a way to us as far as jobs, yeah, but we're also fucking our neighbors to get what we want, which is never a good idea. Okay, moving on. Oh yeah, and then he says things like, and everybody knows that he says certain things, which is actually really funny to me, because he'll say something like, you know, this is the largest deal that's ever been made in U.S. history, and it's actually false. It's not. And then he'll say things like, you know, what else did he say? He said this is the largest deal in U.S. history, which it wasn't. And then he said, you know, with this will become number one, and with this will be number one in manufacturing. We're actually at this current moment, we're number two in manufacturing. So, you know, because like I said, we don't have a lot of stuff isn't, you know, like certain car plate, you know, like GMC, a lot of stuff like that is made here in the United States, but a lot of stuff isn't made here. So it's like, you know, we're number two. Guess who's number one? So. You know, it's okay if you want to boast, fine, go ahead. But don't say things like it is, or this is going to be, or, you know, because it's not going to be. And people don't need that, you know, that false idea as to what's actually going on, what's actually happening. Because I say that to say this, the deal still needs to be approved by Congress in Washington, which it hasn't, so he can shake as many hands as he wants to. Now, Canadian protesting is like literally at an all-time high, because 70% of Canadian steel comes from America. So it's, I mean, he's just, you know, and I just feel so bad because Trudeau's only been in office like since 2015, and he has to deal with so much shit. You know, you would think the man's been in there forever, the way he's trying, you know, the way he's handling it. But he's literally only been in there like 2 years. And I mean, what is it, 2017, 2015? I mean, he hasn't been in there that long, and he has to deal with all this, you know, like, smiling on camera like he's really enjoying this deal. He's not enjoying this deal. I can guarantee you that he wanted something else differently, and that's pretty much the thing with deals like this. I mean, like, you get what you want, you don't get what you want. But I think in this case, it's leveling out more to like, how could you moment? Like, how could you treat us like this? And Trump's all about the dollars and cents, so he's not really thinking about it like that. He's coming in there thinking, coming into the White House, and he's firing everybody. Like, what do you do? Okay, you're gone. And what do you do? Okay, you're gone. And at first, a lot of people were like, yeah, get those old politicians, old people been in there 40, 50 years, get them to retire. Give the jobs to new people, and new people who are hungry and want to work and want to achieve something in their life. You guys are good, But the thing is, he wasn't hiring anybody else, and then he's doing these meetings and these cabinet meetings, and he's it's all like showbiz type thing, and the presidency should be held in higher regard than that. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one that thinks that. The presidency should be held in such a high regard that it's almost like, and I get why he's upset with the reporters and the news and everything like that, because, you got to take it back to, like, 1980s and 1990s. They always made fun of him with the hair and his and everything like that. So when he became president, he was just like, oh, it's all fake, because he's thinking of it probably as paparazzi style. You never know. Okay. I'm not gonna do Okay. See, I keep losing my spot. I'm gonna get the hang of this. I really am, but this is my first one, so we're gonna do this. And as I get more money, I'm gonna really set it up and try to do something nice for you guys. Okay. Saying agreement. Oh yeah. 6 months before. Yeah, see, and that was another thing. Like, when he announced the deal that he was going to impose it, everybody's like, oh no, that'll never happen, and that's too much, and da-da-da-da. And then now that, they've shaken and signed on it. But I mean, to me, Trudeau had to sign under duress, because it was nothing that Trump was offering was anything that was actually technically, some of it was beneficial to him, but it was like, we're going to force you to do this and we're going to force you to do that. And you should never treat your neighbors like that. I just thank God that Canada's the size it is, because I swear to God, actually agree to what he said. Yeah. And then 6 months before he pushed, you in the signing agreement, a shit one at that. That was a shit agreement. It will help America, but goddamn, is it a hefty price? Does it not make them think of us a lot less? But don't think of us a lot less. Think of him as less, because a lot of people are like, this does not benefit. Like, it benefits, but it's just too harsh. I think it's too harsh. It's too harsh right now, and he shouldn't, impose that kind of stuff on our friend, maybe not his friend, but our friend and neighbors. I don't think that's a good idea to go about doing that. Let's see. Yeah, I already said that. To qualify for the tariffs, to qualify for them to even think about getting 0%, 70% of their stuff has to be like, coming to like America or whatever like that, which is like, absurd. So 40 to 45% of all automobile parts have to be made by workers making at least $16 an hour. That's for Mexico, which, like I said, it doesn't seem like it's a realistic goal, because they don't make that much. So to go from like making $3 an hour to 16 something dollars an hour, I mean, he can try it, but I mean, if it doesn't work out, and then they say they have other little things just in case, it can be under review every 6 years, or it's just like, or they can extend it, or like they're gonna extend it. Like, if it's going great, like he left it wide open for them to get shafted even more. Yeah. Yeah, some of those of us farmers get. Yeah, like I said, he's helping the farmers, get more opportunity out there. But it's like throwing out something really huge. It's like, and it's hard to really explain. It's like throwing out something really huge. Like, I'm going to give, I'm going to raise the taxes on this, but at the same time, I'm going to help farmers. At the same time, I'm going to help, and veterans is actually a big, I'm not even going to use veterans because that's actually a wide scale. And for me, they're actually being shafted beyond repair. They're not getting the help that they need and everything like that. And you're worried about trade deals and stuff like that, and worried about building the wall. And like I said, border security is I was telling my one of my best friends, I said, border security is actually a very, very serious thing. But I'll get onto that on a later episode, because people don't understand the concept of why he's pushing it so hard. People don't understand the concept of why he's pushing the border security so hard. But at the same time, people have, we're fine, we're fine. And technically, if we have to have a fucking wall built, we're not fine. Let's just throw that one out there. So, Natural deal tells to help the, I'll give him wait for it, Canada. Nuclear population for the terrorists is part of, ooh. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick in conclusion because I'm so jumbled up on this, but you guys get the point. You guys get the point. Like he's imposing these taxes. He's imposing, and he called tariffs. Tariffs are taxes. He's imposing these taxes on these companies, but in the underlying deal of the USMC deal, there's things in there that people should really look at, because he's doing this huge NAFTA tax, steel, aluminum deal. And essentially, in the underlinings, he's saying things like, I'm going to help dairy farmers. He's doing this thing with pharmaceutical drugs that says that it limits the amount of time between generic medications. Companies can use generic medications. So basically, I'm going to say it like this. So basically, I'm a pharmaceutical company. I come out with a medication. Immediately, people, they come out with the generic version to help with co-pays and everything like that. He's extending the amount of time. He's extending the amount